This
specific
conference will
templates
now
from
be
that using a
recorded.
design spec and scale it as you need to.
Yeah, that's the design spec is when you could even maybe even recruit Vertiv or Schneider to come back to the table or other people and say, hey, we have a design spec. These are the elements, or we have a base spec. These are the elements we're looking for. Do you have your own design spec you want to apply on top of this? And you could get more people involved and more collaboration if if the next thing was to create a base spec.
Okay, it's a good idea. Let me see where
Anyway,
that.
Beat that dead horse. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, Bijan. I thought you were done, but it sounds like you got connectivity issues.
No, I had my Wi-Fi flipped from one to the other. Sorry.
MDC group. So first item is was base spec, like very short format, right? 4 to 6 pages, which basically agrees on something like the width of a document, or the width of a modular data center, the height, which is usually then you can find something like a common denominator, which works on 90% of all the roads, which is usually the limiting factor, right? And then say, okay, what's in that? It's like a 19-inch rack or 21-inch rack. How is it cooled? Some options for that. And
it might just be maximum dimensions too. You don't have to be as prescriptive to say that it must be this way. You might create an envelope. I don't know, Bijan, you got other thoughts?
Yeah, I would only look at it from a constraints point of view. Like, what can you not do? And then say it must fit within those constraints. Because, I'm not part of this group very often, but I can imagine scalability all the way down to small outdoor cabinets, edge cabinets, and then scaling up all the way past the size of rail cars, right? For example. So,
Yeah, but you highlight things like, Carl, that are important, like heights and widths, maximum dimensions. I'm trying to think of other modular data center requirements, maybe, referencing, other standards, might
whatever
be part
the
of the requirement.
Probably like noise, vibration, harshness, availability to, whatever inputs and output interfaces that have to happen, right? So those things will all be in common with all different shapes and sizes of modular data centers.
And then when you get into what's a liquid cooled solution versus air cooled, and the dimensions around each of those solutions are going to vary quite a bit, right? Because one's moving air and the other one is not. Just has to have capacity maybe for people. That's when your other end users and vendors might come to the table and say, well, this is what ours looks like. It fits within the OCP MDC base specification, and they might all look very different from each other and have different technologies. But you're starting to pull them underneath this umbrella where you can work with each other and learn, and you at least share one set of common knowledge.
Yeah.
Or one agreed upon standard. It could be pretty simple.
Okay. It's a good initiative, and it's a good something that we also can present at the global summit, right? So that would lead over to the next that I've seen the calls, but I wasn't aware, that for the group, just for knowledge, that we already next Friday is the deadline for global summit talks, right? For presentations, call for keynotes, presentations, everything.
Yes.
Okay. Since we have been, especially, you're sitting with David and me, the two top presenters, we'll try to build up on those presentations and those work streams and continue to hand those in, I think, right, David? Or have you cooked up another additional 5 topics in the meantime?
At the moment, no, but of course there will be another topics. But I don't know. Can we talk about the image which you have behind you?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll get out of the way. So we have also created a smaller format of a 19-inch wooden rack, which is I'm looking at the same moment you see the background. I'm looking at it, and David actually had an inquiry for a heat reuse case. So we tried to opt it and to design it and to build it as a
The idea is to have like a modular approach, but rack level. So if we can install that rack, let's say a 30-50 kilowatt rack, and that will convert all the heat to the liquid. And without request for hot aisle, cold aisle, inside of OCP rack, you will have all energy infrastructure, and you will have backdoor cooling, which will take the heat from the air cooling part and liquid cooling from the CPU. And that will be like a IT boiler.
Yeah. So look, this is the latest thing that we designed and built. So the effect or the fun fact of this is this works mostly with 12-volt automotive parts. The reason for that is, is that first of all the DC powering of this, and secondly the availability of spare parts and the ridiculous testing that automotive parts go through. So this is from a current model of an Opel with redundant 12-volt DC BMW water pump assembly, and so this is then run with a power shelf, 12-volt power shelf that fits inside a MyTech cage and can be and it is using direct liquid, direct chip cooling,
Yes.
passive or active, plus the 15 to 30%, whatever you still have in air, is then moved via the heat exchanger, and via this we then are able to heat hotels, houses, put them next
Where
to
we
each
need,
other.
where we have limited power capacity and limited heat request. So it will be like a edge rack design.
Yeah.
I have a dumb question. Would it make sense to go, I don't know, deeper down the modularity trail here and say that the actual heat pumps and heat exchangers and all that could be somehow modularized too, so that you can switch one for another, like capacity wise or whatever?
You mean like also like a sliding infrastructure?
Yeah, like you have some pumps there on the bottom, for example. If you standardize on inlets and outlets and things like this, then you can switch those for different types, right? Without having to, it gives you more flexibility. Let me say that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good idea
For
that we
sure. Yes. Yes.
to have for example like just fixed plugs here, Stäubli or something like dripless quick connectors, which we then what because that was also a thing that we had in the discussion. My designer David and I, for this is to really design or mainly and quickly for a standalone unit. So it has its pumps, it has a separate, it has a heat exchanger here and a heat exchanger here, so you don't have the water from the heat system sitting
Yeah.
inside the mesh. But obviously, if you want to connect those, right, you have like 3, 4, 5 of them, then it makes sense to have a larger water pump and heat exchanger unit. And it's a good point.
Yes, but the main idea that we bring that equipment and nothing more, and we have limited space. We don't need hot aisle, cold aisle, raised floor. We just can put that everywhere in any building with low height, without any preparation, and provide the heating.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great approach. I was just thinking if you could standardize on inlets and outlets, connector, maybe quick connects and things like this, becomes
Yes,
very modular
Yeah.
so that you can, rotate
Yeah.
and have much flexibility over capacity, cooling capacity, and maybe even the type of pumps and heat exchangers and so on.
when we putting in specification direct on chip cooling, we use the documentation which already exists in OCP cold plate workstation. And there is everything is righted. So one aligned with other.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it's a good point. We will review it, and we're working on basing having the same approach also for the OCP rack. What is it called? The Open Rack V3 in wood, because we're working with John Fernandez from Meta on a rear door heat on hybrid cooling modular data center white paper, where we look at how much density can we have with this approach, direct liquid cooling with rear door heating, and the model yet for the rack V3, or I think I have not checked in the past month, but there hasn't been like the full rack has not been publicized as a model, and so we just to show how to put it inside the module, we will design our own with active rear door coolings. In this case, with the automotive approach, just to have something that you actually can build very quickly and with very reliable parts. That's the idea. So that's one point that will be new. If I sorry, topic global summit. So that would be that would be what we actually will and want present is like the final LHB spec will be a topic. The meta hybrid cooling white paper. Suda paper. Then, oh, sorry. Then we unfortunately didn't had I reached out but had a feedback, but Data Cube Global is working on a specification right now, right, David?
Yes, they said
Yeah.
that they will reach out. They have some issues.
Global spec. That I don't know. You saw that presentation, Rob? Were you on the call when they presented? Yeah, right. I think that's a very interesting concept and quite new. So what else did we present in OCP? Yeah. So what else did we present in the modular data center space? I'm already forgetful. Yeah, we want to basically create scope 3. That's what I want to do, and like scope 3 analysis and optimization of 90 kW spec, the existing one, and see if we can work together with the sustainability group on that. I think they're already defining standards so that we basically can show that where are now the big carbon blocks in the supply chain of an existing specification, obviously with what the work we try and do is to reduce it by the use of either net zero steel, new concrete solutions, or also some
I think there's
the use
a lot of
of
opportunities here on the 90 kW spec, and the DCF sustainability group is working on defining the metrics right now. So the timing is pretty good, if it couldn't have been earlier. And there's a couple things that jump out to me of why this would be a nice case study to put together. Is that other than PCX, which I don't believe is marketing this exact product, no one certainly owns the design. It's open, so it's not like we're dismantling some company's massive investment in their product design, and not everybody wants their products completely picked apart, especially from a environmental carbon footprint standpoint. It also encompasses all the elements that even a large scale data center may have. So it's good to see where the high nails might be, and maybe produce some next actions out of it. So I think this is great. The only other one I want to address on your list here is on the ZutaCore white paper. I know that they presented. I had sent an email to you and David. I was just wondering if they had intentions of contributing it to the database, if they would be willing to put it.
Yeah, we just need to have another meeting on that. We've reworked it into one concise document, and I think then they are willing to upload it to the database. Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me know if I can help.
Yeah. So what else did we do? And I'm just thinking to forget something in Prague, but this is basically, this already would be 5 topics only for the MDC. So we'll try to highlight that. Obviously, giving an MDC group update, right? So so with that, we will have or would have already 6 topics, I think, that we can hand in, and if we are granted, trying to highlight, something to see that those members, put that in forward, and hope that we are, maybe if we can get something together with a sustainability group, this could also definitely live in the sustainability, bracket, right, or on that stage. So just do not want to overthrow it.
Yeah, let us know if and we'll have to look at capacities, and I'm getting the lists in now. There's quite a bit of contributions, which are fantastic. But if there's anything that could live in, maybe data center facility or sustainability, and we can align the agenda. If we get the people who are leading those tracks to agree, then it just increases the opportunities for these presentations to make it to the stage, because the presentations just coming off of the European summit were fantastic, probably the highest quality I had seen, and a massive number. So we had to cut quite a bit. So if there's earnest interest and it's good for multiple groups, let us know that. We want to make sure that the best presentations come forward.
Yeah. So no, that is this is across. This definitely is a crossover in groups. That is quite unique, but that also should be a crossover. Unfortunately, in the scheduling, and that's something that we also maybe need to fix over the summer. I think the sustainable group just had have started their meeting now at 5, like 5 our time. I think it's 8 your time, or.
Carl, sorry, I need to jump to the immersion call. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know if you have any other updates. Yeah. So that's why I have not been very present or active in that group yet. So I'll try to either move the MDC meeting or find a slot for the sustainability meeting to just be able to jump from one to another. but that should be good, yeah. And this is also something that highlights technically a lot of technologies. Liquid cooling, they're very flexible. So we just then want to make sure via David we can highlight more groups, and just don't have too much equity in our or too much screen time, just narrowing down on MDC. Good. So that was were those. What did I else put in the in the email? Yeah, the white papers. I'll have to. Well, unfortunately, last couple of meetings we were not able to meet with Brad, but I'm active, communication with him via WhatsApp. We back and forth. So we try to find the time, put in the last bits, and narrow it down so it can be uploaded. The MDC white paper that we have started, so that we also potentially can have maybe like a combined sessions on white papers in MDC to upload that. On ZutaCore, there's this active work now going on. And the meta hybrid will also be first white paper, and then potentially we will publicize a design model or in a spec. But I think we have for a design file we have to spec, right? So that's the idea for that, right? And that's also another reason why I want to why we want to have the that or Wooden Data Center wants to be a full OCP startup member to be able to contribute design models.
Yeah, being a startup member, and then if there's a base MDC spec, and or any other spec that Wooden Data Center would meet.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can also create a that ties into the scope 3 analysis and optimization. That we then also would be able to change certain aspects like the housing of it or cooling technology and see how that is changing the different the different approach of the what is it, scope 3 analysis or the whole GHG emissions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe can put in that, because we can obviously include like a 3 or 4, 5 or 10 year runtime and with different locations and see how much of that is contributing. Yeah. Good. Okay, with that were, I think, my points. So since we do not have so much of the regular or usual suspects and customers today, I'm happy to open the stage, basically. Nick, Jamie, or Chuck, if you have any questions or any. So basically what we're working on right now is a lot of liquid cooling, white papers specification, and we want to use the existing specification we have in Modular Data Center to use it to showcase what is happening. If you have a rack like what's behind me, what type of CDU, what type of pumping, what type of piping needs considers. We do have in the advanced cooling facilities have documents for that, but we do have very little applied designs or solutions for people to approach this, and that's what we're trying to support here with the MDC group. Okay, so if that's anything, then I'm happy to close the meeting a little earlier today. With the topics for Global Summit, I think we'll have busy weeks or busy 10 days ahead. So thanks everyone, and see you soon. Talk soon, Rob. Take care.
Okay, Carl. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks everyone.